One of the things that I found over the years that I've been here, now quite a few years in Chicago, is that I would say, different categories, but as Black people in general, but more specifically as immigrant Africans, we tend not to talk about some of the stresses that come with this huge move that we have, where you're in a new culture. Yes, you find, old world market to get your African food and things like that, but it is a huge stressor to a lot of people go from high profile jobs in their country and come here and have to take low-paying jobs or don't have any jobs at all. I mean, I meet a lot of friends of ours who are cab drivers who have PhDs and they can't work, and it's sort of like people treat you a certain way. I remember people treating my mom a certain way, like why they don't understand her accent, so they're like, can you speak English at all? And that sort of demeaning thing that can happen in making this move here. So one of the things that I've explored a lot of is, how do we take care of that stress? How do we take care of that overwhelming feeling of people looking down on us, or people treating us differently, or people treating us disrespectfully? How do we take care of that stress? A lot of times, the way we do it is everything will be fine. I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to ignore it. And that stress builds. And stress inside of us can build to mean things like heart disease later, to mean things like high cholesterol, and to mean things like depression. And I think we don't like to use certain words like that. If you come from the kind of culture I come from, which I love my culture, there's also the religious element of it for us, which is things like, if you just pray about it, everything will be fine. And, I think I personally believe prayer is a good thing and is, very important, but I also think it's important for us to think about our bodies as both physical. And if you're a religious person, you don't have to be, you can think about it as spiritual. So you still eat, right? When you wake up, you don't say, oh, if I just pray that I'm full, that I'll be fine, right? So there's certain things we still do in the physical world. Oh, if I don't shower, I'll just pray that God will clean me up. We don't do that. So I think it's important for us to start to expand the ways in which we think about taking care of our health, and to remember that our health is not just the physical health, but our health is also the mind and how we're thinking. Because if you're thinking, there's no hope for me, nothing is going to work out, what's the point of trying? Why should I go back to school? What is it going to amount to? Why should I get that certificate? My dad went from a very high-paying job in Nigeria, very high-profile person, came here, and he had to take a low-paying job, And I know for him in his 50s, that was really, really stressful. I have to take care of my children. I have to send them to college. I can't do those things. So my area of specialty I've chosen in medicine is actually mind health and mind wellness and emotional health. And while I care about your blood pressure and your blood glucose levels and your cholesterol, I also care about how you're doing internally, in terms of your mind, in terms of your thinking. So I have some programs that I'm working with right now through Northwestern University. I start on faculty in July of this year, so I'm really excited. That's my parents' dream, right? And that's kind of what happens, is we try to infuse our dreams into our children, and that's what they did. But one of the things that's very important to me is that I come back into our community, wherever that is, in whatever scope or form that is, to remind us that we have to think about our bodies in multiple ways, and have to remember that in order to progress, we can't neglect our emotional well-being. We can't neglect that stress and just assume it'll go away. It still builds inside of us in different ways. And to make sure we're using the resources around us. Some of the things I'll give you an example. When I was in medical school here is very hard, just like it's hard, in different parts of Africa. It's hard to, become a doctor per se. But one of the things I'd notice is when I got really stressed out, I kind of held it in, and I was like, I'm an African woman, I can handle it, it's going to be fine. And I would find some of my colleagues would go and reach out for help. they would say, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? I'm really emotionally struggling right now. Can you give me this support or that accommodation and all of that? They still got to where they needed to go to, but with more support than I did, because I was like, I'm strong, I can handle it. So it took me a while to start to say, what kind of support do I need? What's in my community? And how can I use that support to actually take me further? Because if you're holding a huge burden on you, you're not gonna go as far as you would like to. If you're ignoring all that stress, you're actually not gonna go as far as you would be able to if you actually dealt with that stress. And I think for us as Africans or African Americans, whatever place you're coming from, I think it's easy for us to think that, if I just keep on trying really, really hard, everything will be fine. So I want us to start to think about resources in the community that can help us with our emotional well-being, that can help us with that stress. So while you're spending, and believe me, I know all about immigration issues, but while you're spending all that time, on your immigration papers, also spend some time, even if it's just like 5% of your time, trying to think about how you're getting support for your emotional stress and for your, in some sense, also your physical health. And where are those resources? And so one of the things that I'm working with the United African Organization on is trying to get a list of resources that we can disseminate to the community, and hopefully through Fasika and Nancy and Stella and everyone, they will be able to send those messages out to everyone. More immediately, what I'm doing is having groups. So I'm asking people to come in. For now, it's just women, unfortunately. That's what the program that I'm doing is. But I know my fathers, my brothers, I see you. I want, to talk to you guys about your emotional health too. But for now, we're doing a program with women. So anyone who is between the age of 18 and 65 and is a woman can come to this program. What we do is we sit together in groups of anywhere from 6 to 15 people. We might sit in a circle. It's a closed group. And we talk about basically all these topics that I'm talking about. And I want to hear what you think about it. Because what I want to do is then take that to Northwestern University and say, this is what the community needs. This is how, because sometimes I think in this country, people try to apply their Western system to our culture, and it's hard, right? But what if we could tell, this is what we need in the community, this is what would help us in the community. So that's what I'm hoping for, is that I can gather with everyone, for now women, and then eventually with the men too, and say, what is it that the community needs, and how can Northwestern University help to support the community, whether it's with the emotional health or the physical health part, whether it's with health fairs and things like that. We're here to support you, and I'm trying to bring those resources into the community. So hopefully we'll have a group. I'm hoping if people are interested enough and want to sign up, if enough people sign up, we can have a group on Monday. Anyone who comes will get a $30 gift card to spend anywhere, if you want to. It's not that, I know, I wish I could give more, but for now it's just $30, and hopefully that will buy a couple lunches or something. But if you come to the group and you sign up for the group, I think we have a sign-up sheet that we can put out. And sign up for we can do it on Monday, in a couple days. So I'll bring those gift cards, $30, and we'll sit together just to thank you for your time, because I know time is money. To thank you for your time. It's only going to take about an hour. And we sit together and we basically say, you tell me, because you're the experts in the community, about what you think the community needs in terms of support for emotional health and physical health, and then I take that information back to Northwestern, and we try to bring those resources into the community. I don't want to bring the wrong resources in. That's why I'm asking you first what is needed. And they are interested in helping the community with you guys as the experts.